Follow me down the rabbit hole, the witches rabbit hole. Stranger Things and witches. So I thought it was very interesting that in the finale, the movement of Kali, Max, and Elle was very syncopated. I noticed that the first time I watched it, and I was like, an emphasis on the number 3? I don't know. I didn't know they were so connected. They barely know each other. I mean, Elle knows Max, Kali knows Elle, sort of. But the 3 of them in sync together, that was so strange. And then when I watched the finale muted with The Dark Side of the Moon, the original version of this video had the music playing on TikTok, but of course, when I uploaded it to YouTube, it got flagged. So I had to mute this section. But essentially, these are the parts that reminded me of the 3 witches from the Scottish play. And it's very cool when you hear it with the music. I recommend you do so. This part in particular is perfectly synced in a way that is rhythmically satisfying, if you can't already tell. There was an emphasis on Max and the word magic spell. And then when I watched the finale muted to Life of a Showgirl, again, I had to mute it, but I hope you can see what I'm talking about. If you put this song with this scene, it works pretty well, and it emphasizes how intentional the movements of the actors are. So it's not just the editing, but it's the physicality of the actors that happens in such a rhythmic way that works with the music. The highlighting of their syncopated movements, of them moving together as one, think of like Hocus Pocus, was even more blaringly obvious. And so then I thought, wow, they're moving like witches. And it made me think of the Scottish play, the Weird Sisters, the Wayward Sisters. The term weird had a different meaning back when it was first used. We think of it as odd, strange. But back in Shakespeare's time, weird meant creature of the elder world. Shakespeare based the 3 witches on King James's demonology. All King James was obsessed about was witches, so he wrote a book about it. Greek mythology, the 3 fates. Also, the Norns of Norse mythology. Yes, very important to Icelandic culture and mythology. Quick reminder, in SNL's sketch about Conformity Gate, they brought up again that Iceland is important. Dustin asked, why are we in Iceland? Just keep that in mind. In Greek mythology and Norse mythology, the gods were afraid of these 3 female beings because they were considered primordial. They were bigger than the system, bigger than the program. You could not escape your fate. What happened, what's happening, and what ought to happen. Greek mythology also has Hecate, the goddess of witches, of ghosts, of necromancy, of transitions, of crossroads, of torches. And Hecate is mentioned in the Scottish play. Not mentioned, she's there in it. Hopping back to Norse mythology, we also have the Tree of Life. I'm going to mispronounce it, but you know what I'm talking about if you watch any of Loki. The Norns are there to protect the world tree, to nourish it. This video is already too long, so I'm going to have to make a part 2 because we're going to talk more about Hecate, we're going to talk about Nyx, goddess of the night, and we're going to talk about the Norns more. And maybe some of the history of England. Yay!